They say the ocean remembers everything, every creature that has ever lived, every shadow that ever moved beneath the waves, every roar that once shook the prehistoric world. But what if one of those shadows never disappeared? What if a giant from Earth's distant past, a predator older than our civilizations, older than the Ice Age, older even than many prehistoric humans, still lurks in the deepest places we have never seen? Tonight, we dive into a terrifying question. What if Megalodon, the largest shark ever to exist, is not extinct? Imagine an animal the length of a city bus, with jaws wide enough to swallow a car. Its bite force stronger than any creature in the history of evolution. For millions of years, Megalodon ruled the oceans, hunting whales, tearing through ancient ecosystems, and shaping the very balance of life. Then, around 6 million years ago, it vanished. Or so we believe. But the truth is far more mysterious. Because more than 80% of our oceans remain unexplored. Because the deepest trenches are pitch black, freezing, and unreachable to most submersibles. Because strange sonar signatures, massive bite marks on whales, and eyewitness accounts continue to whisper a chilling possibility. What if something enormous still swims out there? In this video, we will not only explore the scientific evidence behind Megalodon's existence, but also the unanswered mysteries. We will travel back to prehistoric Earth, when giant sharks and colossal whales battled beneath warm, ancient seas. We will follow the fossil trail left behind by this apex predator. And finally, we will ask the question that continues to haunt marine biologists, cryptozoologists, and deep-sea explorers. Could Megalodon be the last surviving titan of a lost world? Prepare for a journey into the unknown, where science meets myth, and where every discovery forces us to rethink the boundaries of life on Earth. To understand whether Megalodon could still exist, we must travel back into the deep timeline of Earth, to an era long before prehistoric humans shaped tools, long before Neanderthals walked across Ice Age glaciers, long before the first lost civilizations carved monuments into stone. Around 6 million years ago, the oceans belonged to one creature, Otodus megalodon. This colossal shark thrived during the Miocene and early Pliocene epochs, a time when Earth was warmer, coastlines shifted constantly, and marine life exploded in diversity. 1. The fossil trail of a titan. Unlike dinosaurs, which left behind towering skeletons, sharks are mostly cartilage. Megalodon's body did not fossilize well, but its teeth did. And those teeth are monstrous. Up to 18-centimeter long, triangular, and serrated, thick enough to crush bones scattered across dozens of countries. These are not just teeth. They are weapons, relics of a predator that preyed on early whales and massive marine mammals. Some fossilized whale bones still show deep, clean bite marks shaped exactly like megalodon teeth. But fossils also raise a more puzzling question. If Megalodon ruled the oceans for 20 million years, why did it suddenly disappear? 2. Climate change and the Ice Age shift. Around 6 million years ago, the Earth began cooling dramatically. Sea temperatures dropped, the poles expanded, and the world entered the long road toward the Ice Age. Warm water species struggled. Food chains collapsed. Large whales migrated into colder regions where Megalodon, adapted to warm seas, could not follow. This is one of the strongest scientific arguments for Megalodon's extinction. But it is not conclusive. Because while the surface oceans changed, the deep oceans remained stable, dark, cold, and ancient. Some species from prehistoric ecosystems still live there today. The coelacanth, once thought to be extinct for 66 million years, the frilled shark giant squid megamouth shark's mysterious shadow species, seen only once or twice. If these creatures survived unchallenged for millions of years, Could something larger, much larger, also endure? 3. The collapse of the Megalodon Empire. During the prehistoric world, Megalodon-shaped marine evolution. Early whales existed in fear. Seals and dolphins evolved new strategies to evade giant predators. But when new super predators arrived, like orca-like ancestors and aggressive shark species, competition increased. Megalodon's slow reproduction rate may have made it vulnerable. Yet even this theory leaves gaps, because the fossil records show Megalodon disappearing suddenly, not gradually. We find abundant teeth, then almost nothing. Something changed rapidly. And rapid changes often leave survivors in hidden pockets, ecological refugia, isolated corners of the world where ancient species persist. 4. Unexplained evidence from the modern ocean. Even today, strange data keeps surfacing. Massive bite marks on whales. Occasionally, whales are found with enormous circular bite scars, far larger than any known great white shark. Some marine biologists insist these marks could only come from a creature exceeding 15 to 20 meters. Sonar readings in the Mariana Trench. In 2013, a research vessel recorded an object the size of a submarine moving more than 4,000 meters below the surface. It moved too fast, too smoothly, and left no trace. The black demon of the Sea of Cortez fishermen in Mexico have described a dark, massive shark that dwarfs great whites. Some claim its tail hits the surface even when its head is still submerged. These stories are unverified, but persistent. The 1954 USS Stein incident. A U.S. naval destroyer was allegedly damaged by a creature that left huge teeth-like gouges in its sonar dome. The marks didn't match any known species. None of this proves Megalodon exists, but it proves something important. Our modern oceans are full of unknowns. 5. How little we have explored. More humans have walked on the moon than visited the deepest parts of the ocean. We have mapped only a fraction of the seafloor. Most species in the abyss have never been seen alive. In archaeology, when we explore human evolution, we often say, absence of evidence is not evidence of absence. The same applies here. Just as lost civilizations may lie beneath deserts, jungles, or ice, unseen giants may exist beneath thousands of meters of water. 6. Why Megalodon matters for evolution. Though Megalodon is not a prehistoric human, its story mirrors the great cycles of life that shaped our evolution. It teaches us about extinction, survival, and adaptation, the very forces that allowed early Homo species to endure the Ice Age, the climate shifts, and predatory threats far greater than themselves. The ocean was once home to titans. And understanding those titans helps us understand the fragile balance of life and how quickly it can change. The question remains open. Did Megalodon truly vanish? Or did it retreat into the deepest realms, evolving in ways we cannot imagine? To imagine whether Megalodon still lurks in the abyss, we must first return to the world where it once ruled, a world far older than Neanderthals, Homo erectus, or the earliest chapters of human evolution. Back then, the oceans were not just ecosystems, they were battlefields. Kingdoms of predators and prey locked in a struggle billions of years older than any lost civilization on land. 1. A journey into the ancient sea picture. This scene. The year is 10 million B. Sea. The Miocene sun burns hot, the air thick with humidity. Below the shimmering surface lies a realm bursting with life. Giant turtles with shells like shields, early whales the size of buses, and dolphins that move like liquid arrows. But all of them live under one enormous shadow, a shadow that glides silently, a shadow that is feared by everything with a heartbeat. Megalodon, the apex predator of prehistoric oceans. Its massive body, up to 18 meters long, moves with surprising grace. Each tail stroke sends shockwaves through the water. Its jaw opens like an ancient gate of bone and muscle, capable of exerting up to 40,000 pounds of bite pressure. When Megalodon attacks, the ocean itself seems to recoil. 2. How Megalodon-hunted scientists believe Megalodon's hunting style was far more strategic than a simple brute force assault. Its size limited agility, but it made up for it with intelligence and power. Unlike the great white shark, which ambushes upward from below, Megalodon used a different technique, one refined over millions of years of evolution: cripple, isolate, and consume. It targeted the weakest or youngest whales in a pod, biting off fins or tails first, preventing escape. Then, with the pod scattering in panic, Megalodon would close in for the kill. This behavior reshaped the entire food chain. Marine mammals began developing defensive behaviors, tighter pod formations, coordinated evasions, and migrations into colder waters. Even in death, Megalodon forced evolution forward. 3. The ocean without humans. Remember, during Megalodon's reign, prehistoric humans didn't exist yet, not even in their earliest evolutionary forms. While our distant ancestors were small primates climbing through warm African forests, the oceans were dominated by a predator whose jaws could swallow them whole. This timeline matters because it reminds us that Megalodon wasn't just a creature. It was a global force, a keystone predator whose existence is deeply woven into Earth's evolutionary story. Just as Neanderthals shaped Ice Age survival on land, Megalodon shaped marine life in the water. 4. The Great Disappearance. Then, suddenly, everything changed. The planet cooled. Ice spread across the poles. Ocean currents shifted dramatically. A new chapter began, the slow march toward the Ice Age. Whales, now migrating into colder waters, escaped Megalodon's hunting grounds. Competition increased. New predators evolved. Megalodon's food supply dwindled. Its pups, born in shallow warm nurseries, became easy prey for other sharks. In a few thousand years, a blink in geological time, the great titan vanished from the fossil record. But the mystery lies here. The fossil record does not show a slow decline. There is no gradual thinning of teeth, no shrinking population signs. It's simply abundant, then nearly gone. This is extremely rare in nature. Species that disappear this abruptly often do so because they moved, not because they died. 5. The abyss, Earth's final refuge. When humans study lost civilizations, we often find that ancient cultures survived by hiding in mountains, deserts, or isolated islands. Species can do the same. The deepest parts of the ocean are the oldest ecosystems on Earth, regions more stable than any place on land. Temperature doesn't fluctuate wildly. Light never reaches. Predators evolve separately from the surface world. Evolution slows down. Creatures become relics of the past, living fossils. This raises a chilling possibility. What if Megalodon adapted to the deep? Not the same giant that terrorized whales millions of years ago, but a darker, leaner, colder version. A creature evolved to survive crushing pressures and eternal night. 6. Imagining a modern Megalodon. If Megalodon survived to the modern era, it would have changed. All species do. It might be smaller, perhaps 12-14 meters instead of 18, because deep-sea environments favor energy efficiency rather than massive size. Its skin might be darker, even pitch black, to blend into the abyss. Its metabolism slower, allowing it to survive long periods without feeding. Its teeth more slender, adapted for squid, large deep-sea fish, or dying whales sinking into the dark. In archaeology, we often speculate how prehistoric humans adapted to Ice Age conditions, smaller groups, specialized tools, different behaviors. Deep-sea megalodons, if they exist, would be the ocean equivalent of Ice Age survivors. 7. Witnesses from the edge of darkness. Throughout history, sailors have reported encountering enormous sharks with black skin and unusual swimming patterns. Many were dismissed as exaggerations or misidentified whales, but some accounts are disturbingly consistent. A shark longer than a fishing trawler, a tail fin rising several meters above the water, a mouth so wide it looks like a cave. Some reports came from experienced captains with decades at sea, not people prone to fantasy. Could they have glimpsed survivors from the Miocene? Creatures that rarely surface, but occasionally rise to feed or migrate. 8. Why we haven't seen one. Clearly, people often ask, if Megalodon still exists, why haven't we captured one on camera? The answer is simple. We rarely see anything in the deep ocean. Most of the footage we have of deep-sea species comes from dying animals floating upward, creatures attracted to submersible lights, rare population outliers that wander too close to the surface. If Megalodon is now a deep-sea creature, it may only rise occasionally, perhaps once every several years, and quickly vanish back into the abyss. The ocean is vast. Humans are small, and the deep is patient. 9. The predator. We might have forgotten Megalodon was the last of the megasharks, the final chapter in a lineage stretching more than 50 million years. If it still survives, hidden in the dark wilderness beneath the waves, then we are not the true rulers of Earth. We are simply land dwellers, unaware of the titans that still move beneath us. But the real mystery is not just whether Megalodon exists. It is what its existence would mean for biology, for evolution, for the fragile balance of life on this planet. If a creature escaped extinction once, what else might have survived? What other giants, forgotten by time, might still roam untouched by human discovery? To explore whether Megalodon could still live in the deep ocean, we must confront the scientific debates, conflicting evidence, and unanswered mysteries that surround this prehistoric giant. The world of marine biology is divided, not between believers and skeptics, but between data and possibility. Let us enter that debate. 1. The sharp divide. Between scientists, most paleontologists argue firmly that Megalodon is extinct. Their reasoning rests on 3 pillars: lack of recent fossils, specifically teeth less than 3 million years old; climate change and prey migration, suggesting it lost its food supply; the absence of large nursery grounds in modern warm seas. But a growing number of marine researchers challenge this certainty. They point to a fundamental flaw. The ocean does not preserve fossils effectively, especially in deep environments. On land, lost civilizations can leave behind ruins, tools, and burial sites. But in the deep sea, everything sinks into soft sediment and vanishes. This is why fossil evidence abruptly disappears. Not necessarily because the species died, but because the environment changed. 2. The mystery of missing fossils. Critics argue, if Megalodon survived, we would find younger teeth. But consider this: 95% of Megalodon fossils were found in shallow coastal areas. Almost none were found in deep-sea environments. Deep-sea sediments rarely preserve teeth. We explore less than 1% of the deep seafloor. In archaeology, we know how biased evidence can be. Entire civilizations disappeared from historical records simply because environmental conditions destroyed their traces. Why would marine fossils be any different? If Megalodon migrated into deeper waters at the end of the Miocene, its remains would be almost impossible to find. The absence of evidence is not proof of extinction, only proof of how incomplete our knowledge truly is. 3. Modern sightings. Hoaxes, misidentifications, or clues. Stories of enormous sharks appear worldwide. Most can be dismissed: blurry photos, exaggerated tales, or misidentified whales. But some remain stubbornly unexplained. The 1918 Port Stephens incident, Australia. Fishermen described a shark as long as the wharf, nearly 30 meters. These were hardened professionals, not prone to fantasy. Their account shocked authorities for decades. The Black Demon of Baja California. A dark shark as large as a fishing boat, seen by dozens of fishermen across generations. It might be misidentified whales, but the consistent shape and movement suggest otherwise. 2019 drone footage, South Africa. A massive shadow moved beneath a pod of dolphins, too large and slow to be a great white. It vanished into deeper water. None of these sightings prove Megalodon exists, but they challenge us to question how much we truly observe. Even in human evolution studies, eyewitness evidence of early hominin tools or bones often preceded scientific confirmation by years. In the deep ocean, truth moves even slower. 4. The whale carcass. Mystery marine biologists occasionally find whale corpses with bite marks far larger than any modern shark species can produce. Some patterns show teeth spacing too wide for great whites, semicircular bite arcs matching megalodon proportions, gouges deeper than modern sharks can inflict. Scientists propose explanations: orca scavenging, multiple sharks feeding simultaneously, decomposition, distortion. But despite these attempts, certain carcasses defy all known biological patterns. When an animal dies at sea, it sinks into the abyss, a process called whale fall. This creates an oasis of life on the seafloor, attracting deep-sea predators rarely seen by humans. If Megalodon adapted to deep-sea environments, these whale falls might be its primary food source, leaving scars only on rare carcasses that drift back upward. 5. The Mariana Trench anomaly in 2013. A marine research vessel detected an object over 25 meters in length at 4,000 meters depth. It moved smoothly, then accelerated rapidly, far faster than any known submarine or whale. Skeptics argue this was equipment malfunction. Others consider it evidence of a giant squid, an unknown whale species, something else entirely. It's worth noting, the coelacanth, a prehistoric fish thought extinct for 66 million years, was discovered in 1938 by complete accident. One specimen, one moment, and our understanding of evolution changed forever. If a fish that ancient could survive unnoticed, what about a shark? 6. Why Megalodon would go deep to survive? Megalodon would need to adapt. Let's examine how. Depth adaptation. At extreme depths, cold temperatures slow metabolism. Creatures grow differently, often elongated, darker, and slower. A deep-adapted megalodon might look more like a monstrous, streamlined shadow than the bright giant of the Miocene. Food sources: whale falls, giant squid, deep water fish. These could sustain a small population. Avoiding humans. Deep-sea creatures rarely surface, unless dying or migrating. This would explain the rarity of sightings. Evolutionary pressure. Isolation creates new species. Just as prehistoric humans evolved new traits in different environments, from Neanderthals in Ice Age Europe to Homo floresiensis in island Southeast Asia, Megalodon may have undergone similar branching. What we imagine as Megalodon might now be something evolved, something darker and harder to detect. 7. The scientific counterarguments. Not all researchers agree with the survival theory. Some argue Megalodon needed warm waters for nurseries, Their size required enormous caloric intake. Deep-sea temperatures could be lethal for such large sharks, but opposing scientists counter, deep-sea gigantism is real, giant squid, colossal isopods. Some sharks maintain internal temperatures. Large predators like sperm whales hunt in near-freezing zones, and the critical question remains, if Megalodon could not survive cold waters, why do we find its fossils near modern polar regions? The answer, those areas were warm millions of years ago, but it shows the shark was far more adaptable than we assume. 8. The unanswered questions. As in archaeology and human evolution, every discovery raises more questions. Why does Megalodon's fossil record end so abruptly? Why do some modern whales bear unexplained bite marks? What caused the massive sonar anomaly in the Pacific? Why do deep-sea regions contain unexplored ecological niches large enough for megafauna? Could a small, isolated population persist for millions of years without detection? And the biggest question of all, what is lurking in the 80% of the ocean we have never seen? The deeper we look, the less confident we become in declaring anything impossible. Because nature does not care about what humans think is extinct. It only cares about survival. When we talk about Megalodon, a prehistoric giant, a ruler of ancient seas, a predator older than any Ice Age tribe or early Homo species, we are not only exploring a creature, we are exploring a lesson. A mirror held up to humanity. Because the story of Megalodon forces us to confront something deeper. How much do we really know about the world we live in? And more importantly, what do we not know? Let's turn this prehistoric mystery into a reflection about our own existence. 1. Humanity's illusion of control. We like to believe we have mapped the Earth. We like to believe we understand evolution, archaeology, prehistory, that we know the path from prehistoric humans to lost civilizations. But the ocean humbles us. It reminds us that most of our planet remains hidden, that the world is far larger, far darker, and far older than our imagination. If a creature like Megalodon could survive in the abyss without our knowledge, what else might exist? What lost chapters of evolution remain unread? What ancient forces still shape ecosystems beyond our reach? Humans have always feared what we cannot see, and Megalodon is the ultimate embodiment of the unseen. 2. Survival in extreme conditions. Megalodon's possible survival parallels the survival of early humans. Just as prehistoric humans adapted to the cold brutality of the Ice Age, just as Neanderthals evolved powerful bodies for harsh climates, just as Homo erectus spread across continents despite predators 10 times their size, Megalodon may have adapted to the deep. This is the universal law of life. Everything that survives must change. When the world shifts, when climate, temperature, or prey disappears, the ones who endure are the ones who transform. Humans did it. So could a giant shark. 3. The concept of hidden worlds. Across archaeology and anthropology, we repeatedly encounter the idea of hidden worlds. Caves used by prehistoric humans that we discovered only recently lost civilizations buried under sand, ice, or rainforest hominin species we didn't know existed until DNA revealed them. Life thrives in silence. Life hides. Life persists where we least expect it. The ocean is the greatest hidden world of all, filled with creatures we consider impossible until they rise from the depths, just as the coelacanth did in 1938, rewriting 66 million years of scientific certainty. If one prehistoric creature could survive against all odds, why not another? 4. Humanity's relationship with mystery. Modern life values certainty. We trust data, graphs, studies, and neatly written history books. But the world, especially the ancient world, is not neat. It is messy, fragmented, confusing, and often contradictory. Every discovery in evolution or archaeology begins with mystery. Every breakthrough starts with a question no one can answer. Megalodon represents that spirit of questioning. It forces us to look beyond the surface, to challenge assumptions, to remain curious. Because the moment we think we know everything is the moment we stop discovering anything. 5. The power of fear. As a teacher, fear has shaped human evolution for millions of years. The fear of predators forged our reflexes. The fear of the dark taught our ancestors caution. The fear of the unknown drove early tribes to create myths, tools, weapons, and fire. Megalodon is a symbol of that ancient fear, the fear of a world beyond human control. But fear also inspires. It pushes us to explore, innovate, and survive. Just like early humans staring into the darkness of a cave, wondering what lay inside, our generation stares into the abyss of the ocean, wondering what swims beneath. Fear is not an ending. Fear is a beginning. 6. The lesson of extinction. Extinction is a natural part of evolution. More than 99% of all species that ever lived are gone. Every ice age wiped out countless animals. Entire branches of the human family tree disappeared forever. Neanderthals, Denisovans, and dozens more we may never know existed. But here is the paradox. Extinction teaches us about survival. Life on Earth is fragile, yet resilient. Powerful, yet vulnerable. Titanic predators like Megalodon can vanish, while tiny mammals survive and evolve into us. The story of Megalodon forces us to ask, what makes a species survive? Strength? Size? Intelligence? Or adaptability? If Megalodon survived by retreating to the deep, it survived not by power, but by change. If it did not survive, it serves as a warning. No creature is too big, too powerful, or too dominant to fall. Not even us. 7. A mirror for our future. When humans face climate change today, rising temperatures, shifting ecosystems, disappearing species, we are living through a transformation similar to what the Miocene oceans experienced. Back then, Megalodon faced a changing planet. Some say it perished. Others believe it adapted. Today, humanity faces the same test. Will we cling to old ways and collapse? Or adapt and survive, as our prehistoric ancestors did? The question of Megalodon's survival becomes a metaphor for our own. 8. Curiosity, humanity's oldest power. From the moment prehistoric humans began carving tools out of stone, to when lost civilizations built temples aligned with the stars, to now, when we send submersibles into the abyss, curiosity has been our greatest strength. Megalodon is not just a mystery. It is an invitation to explore deeper, to ask better questions, to push beyond the limits of what we think we know, to never lose the childlike wonder that drove our ancestors to cross oceans, climb mountains, and map the world. Life rewards curiosity. Our species is proof of that. 9. The ocean as humanity's next frontier. We have explored mountains, deserts, ruins, ice age caves, but the ocean remains untouched. If Megalodon is still out there, it would be the greatest discovery in the history of evolution, a prehistoric giant swimming beside modern humanity, a living time capsule, a reminder that Earth's ancient past is not gone, only hidden. And even if Megalodon is truly extinct, the search for it will drive new exploration, new tools, new scientific insights, just as the search for lost civilizations fuels archaeology. The real lesson? We must keep exploring, because the world is still full of wonder, and the deepest secrets often lie where we least expect them. For millions of years, Megalodon ruled the oceans, a living force of nature, a prehistoric titan older than the Ice Age, older than Neanderthals, older than every lost civilization carved into the face of the earth. Its shadow shaped evolution. Its power shaped entire ecosystems. Its disappearance shaped one of the greatest mysteries in natural history. But today, we are left with a question that echoes through the dark corridors of the deep. Is Megalodon truly gone, or simply unseen? We explored the fossil evidence, the giant serrated teeth, the whale bones carved with unmistakable bite marks. We examined scientific debates, from climate shifts to competition, from deep-sea refugees to missing fossil records. We looked at sightings, sonar anomalies, unexplained scars on modern whales, and we confronted the reality that more than 80% of the ocean remains unexplored, silent, untouched by modern instruments. The truth is humbling. With so much unknown beneath the waves, nothing can be ruled out completely. Megalodon may be extinct, or it may have retreated into a world humans have barely begun to understand. A world of crushing pressure, eternal darkness, and ancient life. A world where evolution moves in slow, mysterious ways. But beyond the question of survival lies a deeper message, one about us. Just as prehistoric humans once navigated a planet filled with predators far larger than themselves, just as early Homo species survived through fear, adaptation, and innovation, we too stand before forces greater than our understanding. Megalodon becomes more than a creature. It becomes a symbol of the unknown, a reminder that our world still holds secrets older than the human story. A reminder that extinction is not always absolute, that life is unpredictable, resilient, and endlessly creative. And most importantly, a reminder that curiosity is the greatest tool humanity has ever had. Because whether Megalodon still swims in the abyss or not, the search for it pushes us forward into deeper oceans, deeper questions, deeper understanding. It challenges our assumptions, sharpens our imagination, and opens our eyes to a world far stranger than we ever believed. One day, perhaps in the distant future, a submersible may drift through a trench, its lights cutting through the darkness, and illuminate something massive, silent, and ancient, gliding just beyond reach. And on that day, science, myth, and the deep history of Earth will collide. Until then, the question remains, do we truly know what hides beneath our oceans? Or are we, like prehistoric humans staring into the shadows of a cave, still at the beginning of our understanding? If you enjoyed this journey into the ancient world, into evolution, prehistory, archaeology, and the mysteries that still surround our planet, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and ring the notification bell. Because ahead of us lies a vast ocean of unanswered questions, and we will dive into each one together. What mystery do you want us to explore next? Tell us in the comments below.